Welcome to Out of Continues, episode 122. Woo! Woo!
Yeah.
A weekly podcast in which we talk about video games and related topics. I'm your host, Staffa. With me is Cody.
Hey, how's it going?
And
Sorry,
we
I'm on
got
video. I gotta do goofy stuff.
Well, we're also on audio too.
Yeah.
They're not gonna see you if they're gonna listen to the MP3.
I'm gonna do this the entire time, so they think I'm talking. But they're like, "What's wrong with my system, man?"
And we got Matt over here as well.
Hey there.
So how you guys doing?
Pretty good. Pretty good. Got some new games that have been completely dominating my life as of late. So I'm good.
Awesome.
Yeah, I've been well. I have actually not been playing games recently, but hopefully we'll get back into that now that midterms are over.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, anyways, for people who are, first time watching or listening to this show, Out of Continues, as I mentioned, weekly show. We post up the MP3 on outofcontinues.com every Monday, and then the video goes up on YouTube on Wednesdays, because I am like a video illiterate, I mean, when it comes to audio, I pretty much, I know what's going on. I'm not audio genius like this guy over here, but but I know what's going on. As far as video, I'm like, how record video?
Do this thing something. How?
Make widescreen. So I don't know what's going on with video. I'm pretty much learning as I go, or figuring it out as I go, and had some issues posting up last week's video, but it got up eventually, and I'm still gonna try to figure things out, trying to get an alternative to Windows Movie Maker. Unfortunately, have to use it again this week, but I'll figure it out soon.
It's you learn as you go, and you're taking your fans along with you at the ride. So it's kind of like a unique new experience. So enjoy it.
So anyways, this week's episode segments include what have we been playing. After that, some quick announcements. Man, we should really update this outline. We're not talking about digital card games. Let's talk about multiplayer only games. And after that, we got some news and listener feedback this week.
Oh, cool.
Awesome.
Yes. So before we go on, I want to talk about DreamHost real quick, because DreamHost is what I use to post up the MP3 on, outofcontinues.com. And they are also what I use for my personal portfolio, which is staffa.hasini.com. They are a web service. They offer unlimited storage, unlimited bandwidth, user-friendly interface, and they are also optimized to use content managers such as WordPress and Content 5, which I use both of those. Very easy to use. And many more features. All that just for $8.95 US a month. And if you use the promo code Out of Continues, that is one word, no spaces, just Out of Continues, it will waive the setup fee and get you a free domain registration.
Sounds like a pretty sweet deal.
Yes.
You blew my mind, man.
Yes.
You can't afford not to use this.
You
service. Can't do it,
You
man.
can't afford. You're losing money if you don't do this.
It changed my life, man. I lost 150 pounds. It cured my foot fungus. And, I get to put all my content on the web. So
150, man.
150 pounds, man.
you
You should have saw me last week.
Huge.
I was, yeah. Full beard, too. Just click on it. Beard.
Man.
Wow,
Man.
that was impressive.
Man. DreamHost. Making dreams come true. So anyways, let's move on and talk about what have we been playing. And apparently, Cody, you've been the only one who's been playing anything out of this group.
Oh yeah, it's just a weekly podcast about video games and all. So,
Yeah.
but actually, I've been playing two games that are like on opposite spectrums of the timeline of like video games. The first one I've been playing was the original Dragon Warrior for NES, which I don't know if you ever played Dragon Warrior for the original NES.
No, I have not.
Yeah, it's like bare bone basics of RPGs.
Come on, man, not that close.
But it's really neat to see like where we've come, and then like the game that I have been playing most recently and has been dominating my being is the new Dark Souls 2.
Mm-hmm.
And wow, they knocked it out of the park with it. I mean, they kept the core basics of like what people loved about the original Dark Souls, and of course like what they originally liked about the Demon Souls.
So dying
before there, lots and lots of dying, but they just keep on making it better and better and more usable, and like the menus have been completely reworked so they're nice and you can get to them really quick. The world is spectacular. I mean, it's big, it's very, very vibrant, and it looks great, and it sounds great, and it's, and then they're, I don't know, just, I've only got like 15 hours into it. But, I haven't even scratched the surface really of like how deep this game goes. And, yeah, and it's cool because with this new Dark Souls 2, out now, there's so many players playing right there. So I get a chance to, summon other people and they can help me with stuff. And of course, have to fight off invaders and things like that. But yeah, I was worried at first because they were talking about streamlining some things. And, as much as like Dark Souls 2 is, it's like frustratingly like cryptic at times, just how difficult this game can be sometimes. But they didn't nerf anything. They cleaned it up, they polished it, and then so far this is a must play right now. I mean, you got to play this game, man. It's incredible.
It's a must play, even if I haven't played the first one.
You don't have to.
You don't really.
What if I have the first one?
If you have the first one, why aren't you playing it now? Stop, just go. We'll take over the rest of the podcast. You go and play Dark Souls right now.
No, it's not gonna
yeah,
happen that way.
it is. That's the one thing about the Dark Souls games, though, is that you really have to invest some like serious time to get into it, because, like I said, that game is cryptic hard.
I looked it up on howlongtobeat.com, and it said the average time to beat the game is 50 hours.
Yeah, I would say 50 hours if you had a relatively like good idea where to go and stuff. My first playthrough was like a good 85, almost 90 hours of play, and that was,
I don't have that time. That's the thing.
Yeah.
I don't have the time to invest that. I like a game that's like 5 hours. It's like, all right, now I can get back to work.
Well, I mean, depending on how easily frustrated you get, that can be Dark Souls 2, because after 5 hours, after you've died 500 times, you just throw it aside and never look at it again.
What, 500 times in 5 hours? That's like 100 times per hour?
Yeah, you die. You die a lot.
Yeah, yeah. They've definitely reworked a lot of the mechanics and stuff like that, and they've taken into, because I haven't found any really, but one of the hardest things like a lot of people die from is just falling off things, and because some of the like platforming in the game is, it's like I said, very cryptic and very, very hard and stuff like that, and just one false move and you're plunged to to your death. And but so far I haven't seen any, like, they really took their time with level design, and I think they're really they wanted to focus mostly on like aspects of the game that people really like, which is the combat, the exploration, the new different mechanics and stuff like that. So yeah, right now I'm thoroughly impressed with it, and it's fun being like one of only 5 people at your local GameStop picking it up when everyone else is picking up Titanfall. It's like, oh, everyone's getting my baby's first FPS, But Yeah, Dark Souls is where it's at, man. Play
Is
it
it?
right now.
Right now?
Leave.
No,
I'll
no.
take over, man. He's out there taking a phone call. Just
No,
do
it's
something.
fine. I don't have the money right now. I don't have the time. That's more
yeah.
important.
That is
I
the one problem with it.
I didn't have time to play anything this week.
Ouch.
I mean, if you I mean, I guess for me to talk about something during this segment, I could talk about the games I've been working on. Right?
Oh well, I mean,
Yeah, I finished one game. Well, finished is I'm using that very loosely. More like my deadline came up and I had to wrap it up.
yeah.
One game, it's called Hot Seat Escape. So basically in this game, you're playing as a chair. All right? And you are a chair that's a prop in like a popular kids show, like a Disney live action show.
Okay.
All right? And you're sick and tired of these kids. So you got to escape. You got to escape the set. So basically it's like Metal Gear, but with you're playing a chair and you're trying to not get spotted by kids.
Do you get to choke out kids? Because
No.
that's pretty cryptic, man.
No, you can't. Although you gotta give me credit, I put as much time and effort into the story as Kojima did with Metal Gear Solid. So you gotta at least give me credit on that. Come on,
Yeah,
man.
I guess I could give you
It's
that.
like equal level of like depth right there. Come on now.
Yeah, man. I can see the trials and tribulations of being a studio prop chair in a child's
Yes.
television show that doesn't like kids. I
Yep.
mean, yeah.
Yeah. So
Hot Seat Escape. You know, when I first, because I saw that on your Facebook, like my first impressions were like, Hot Seat Escape. Is this about like a death row prisoner trying to get out of the hot seat? Is this
that
some
sounds
sort
pretty
of like
cool. I should
game?
do that too.
That's my idea. Patent pending.
Oh.
No, I'm just
Is that
playing.
how you
go for
patent
it.
something? You press the
Yes.
table? Okay.
That's my patent button right there. I patent the button. So you
But
can't
yeah,
do
it's
it
it's on my website right now, safadhassani.com. There is a download for Windows, a download for Mac, which I was told. I mean, I don't have a Mac, so I can't test it out on Mac. But I was told that it
I
comes
have
up.
a Mac. I should test it out.
I was told by my mentor that it came up with some kind of an error saying that like it was preventing her from running it because it's made by an unregistered or unlicensed developer or something like that, and she had to do a workaround to get to run. So I will be putting up a web browser version of this game soon for so people can play it easily without installing it. It should be up by the time this podcast is up because I need to do everything before this podcast is up because next week I'll be in GDC.
Awesome.
So
Nice.
I don't have time to do anything afterwards. I need to do everything before this podcast is up. So it should be up. I've also been working on my capstone project, which I'm calling Beware the Bully. It is a game, a platformer game, and it's an anti-bullying game. And I've been going through a lot of technical issues trying to get things to work. It's like, oh, wall jumping doesn't work, and I spent like at least 2 or 3 weeks just on wall jumping, and it never. I mean, now I got to the point where it works if you're jumping horizontally back and forth, but it still has this issue that if you're pressing up against the wall and you just press jump, you rock it straight up. So
Is that a problem or a potential awesome
that is
new move?
That is exactly what I decided to do. I'm like, you know what? Whatever. I'm done messing with this. What was once a glitch is now a feature. I'm calling this wall boosting.
Sounds good.
Way to go, man. I'll play that game.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. So, So I spent a lot of time with that. I spent a lot of time with jump pads. Jump pads. I mean, you'd expect something as simple as a jump pad to have like a bunch of resources online, especially for Unity.
Yeah.
No.
No.
No, there are hardly any. The few that I could find are about like 3D first-person shooter jump pads, which is not the same thing as a 2D jump pad for a 2D platformer. So I eventually got visiting lecturer here at the school, Travis Foz. He fixed my jump pads for me, so now they work.
Oh, nice.
So,
good.
Yeah, and like it is amazing how many small little problems will come up and like just waste so much of my time. I'm behind schedule. I'm working on the actual level design now. I mean, I have it all sketched out on graph paper and everything, so I'm building it out on Unity, and I got this script which is so helpful. I got the script that I installed that it runs during editor mode, and it lets me snap tiles to a grid.
Oh, cool.
And
Neat.
so that is, hopefully this will get my production a lot faster, because, I mean, for those people who have not run Unity, Unity does not have like a built-in snapping feature, so you have to like align things manually, and that will take forever. So I got like my sprite sheet with all the tiles for the environment. I'm snapping them on. The latest issue I came across last night was that I have some platforms, the kind of where when you jump on the platform and it will drop, after you've jumped on it. Those work great. And then I was like, and I have these other ones that will like move horizontally after you jump on it. And as soon as I jumped on it to test it out, my dude's staying in the same spot as as the platform's moving. So that is completely how it's not supposed to work. You can stay on it if you're walking and moving at the same time, and it is nuts. So I looked up how to fix that last night. Apparently, I got to do something in which like basically I have to parent the character to that platform while the character's standing on the platform, and then unparent it when you jump off. So that way, when you parent something, when things are parented together, if when one thing moves, the other thing moves with it. So that's how I'll fix it once we're done recording this and I get back home tonight, or today, I'll fix that issue. So, games I've been working on, since I haven't been playing anything, might as well talk about what I've been working on.
Yeah.
Which means you're hard at work, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Matt, you said that you have no games.
Nah, I really don't. I've just been watching my roommate play Dark Souls 2 and Rage, which has been really entertaining, honestly. But yeah, no, besides that, I haven't really been able to play anything. I've been sneaking in a couple of rounds of like Faster Than Light every once in a while between studying to like give myself a break, but that's about the only real gaming I've been doing for about 2 weeks.
I'm still waiting on that DLC that they announced last year.
The new race and everything?
Yeah. Like the cloning and
God, I'm so excited for that game. Like to get the DLC. I really am. It's one of my favorite games, and I've like spent so much time.
That game, I've never beaten it.
Really?
Yeah. Like I've got to the last boss several times, and like that boss is a boss.
Yeah, the boss is really difficult, but like I've never beaten him on normal. I've beaten him on easy like about 5-6 times now.
Oh,
but
man.
But normal, like I mean I've gotten to him on normal like twice, and then he just murders me.
I've been really tempted to install a cheat that allows you to, well, it stops the rebels from advancing.
Mm-hmm.
So basically you can explore a whole area.
Oh, that'd be pretty cool.
And pretty much grind and get whatever items you need for specific quests.
Yeah.
So I was tempted to do that, but like I don't know, like little Staffa voice in my head was like, no, don't cheat. But at the same time, it's like, come on now, this game is so hard.
Well, yeah, that's what like I really wanted to get the like a save game that had all the ships unlocked,
Mm-hmm.
and I was just like, no, you're gonna grind every ship out, and I'm still waiting to get the crystal ship. Like I've triggered the events that you have to trigger to like get to it. But I
I've
haven't
yet to
finished
even
it.
find the crystal race.
You have to be on normal, and you
Okay.
you have to be on a rock ship. Like those are like the two things. It doesn't matter which rock ship; it can be either one, but it's kind of a pain. So
Well, that explains why I never got to the crystal race, because I always play on easy, and easy is hard.
easy is very hard. They're easy, and the human being easy are two very different things.
So, all right, let's move on. Let's go to announcements. The only announcements that I got is basically I'm still working on the video aspect of this podcast. I mean, this is episode 2 with video. As I explained earlier, I had a lot of issues getting the video up. Today, as of this recording, is Thursday, so I got it up last night, Wednesday. I said I'd get it up Wednesday. It did get up on Wednesday. I was having issues even like compiling the video. Like first, I tried put it in After Effects, to get the video and audio together, and like I couldn't hear anything for some reason. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna try Premiere. And then when I got together in Premiere, I got the video, the audio lined up, and then I exported it, and it ended up it took forever to export. I was like, okay, all right. I didn't look at the file size. I started uploading it to YouTube, and it said like 500 something minutes. I was like, wait, that is a long, long time. How long is that? 8 hours.
Yep.
And I was like, no, this is not right. And I looked at this file size. It was like over 8 gigabytes. No, this isn't right. So I exported again. Lower quality, a different file type. Ended up being a little over 1 gig. The quality ended up being worse, but oh well, whatever. The quality didn't end up being great to begin with because I recorded with Movie Maker, and so. But whatever. I'm still trying to figure things out.
I wonder if anybody's ever made a movie with Movie Maker.
Probably. Probably. I wouldn't doubt it.
I'm sure there's at least one. Like one guy was just like, I'm gonna do it.
I mean, there is someone working on, or that has worked on a full-featured animated movie with Blender. So.
Oh man.
So because someone has done that with Blender, I'm pretty sure someone has made a movie with Movie Maker. People want to prove that they can utilize free software.
I mean, if you can do it, more power to you. But man,
starring Brad Pitt,
starring Charlie Sheen, food fight.
Yeah. The only thing it has is like every scene transitions from one of those really crappy wipes or like irises.
Star wipe. Yeah. All wipes are star wipes.
Just even like the back and forth transition with like talking to somebody. It's like, hey, how's it going? Star wipe.
Dude, the more
serious watch that movie.
Star wipe.
The more serious the video, the more star wipes you need. That's why no one took that Coney video seriously at all, because
no star wipes.
It had no star wipes.
I also noticed this year at the Oscars there was a huge lack of star wipes in the movies.
Man.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even go see movies unless I hear at least 40 star wipes. If I don't hear that, then I don't watch movies. Sorry.
But yeah, we're still working on video. That's basically what I want to say. So hang in there. And like I mentioned last week, this is mainly to try to like expand the audience. The audience I've been doing this podcast for over 2 years now. The audience has actually gotten smaller. I mean, it peaked around 200 people, and then it's gone down since then, unfortunately. And so, I gotta like put this podcast on more, areas to try to expand the audience. So hopefully this will, bring in some new viewers and, expand the podcast. It's nice to have more listeners and viewers because it makes the podcast more fun, especially when they write in.
It
which
does.
We'll get to listener feedback later on in this podcast, but it just makes it more fun.
Indeed.
I agree.
And if And if we can get that number up to 300, we'll bring cats in one day. Just whole
Just
room
cats.
full of cats.
For you to watch.
I'm not making any promises.
I'll make that promise.
I'm not making any promises.
Hey, stop! But
That
look,
would-
I found a box of stray cats.
You get even more
Welcome
fans,
to Out of
though.
Continues.
Like, imagine just you're reviewing games, you've got your previous audience, but now people see, like, in the tags, cats. And so now there's just people watching the podcast, there's cats on it.
Or we can dress up like cats.
You
Meow.
can. You can. Okay, so let's move on to our main topic, which is we're going to be talking about multiplayer-only games. And Matt, you are the one who suggested this, and I'm assuming that you meant like in AAA titles,
Yeah.
because like with indie games, you pretty much have to decide
Yeah.
whether your game is going to be single player focused or multiplayer focused, because it's really difficult to make something that's both
hmm
when you're an indie developer.
Yeah, unless you get, like, a Kickstarter campaign going or something for it
Yeah.
to get the multiplayer. And yeah, I was talking about that because, like, I read an article about how some people were complaining with the recent release of Titanfall that it was all multiplayer and there was no single player, which, once again, Titanfall never announced that there would be any single player. They're like, we'll have a campaign. It's a multiplayer campaign that you play in multiplayer, but, like, they're like, there's going to be no single player, and yet people were still complaining about it. And so I thought, it might be one of those things, because I figured we'd move to the point now where people would be satisfied with having either just a complete single player or just a complete multiplayer experience, but apparently we're not there yet.
Yeah, I mean, like, the thing is, this is not even a new concept. Like, Quake 3 came out, like, when? Like, 2000, 2001, something like that?
Yeah.
And Quake 3 was pretty much a multiplayer-only game. I mean, you could play it by yourself, but it was basically multiplayer maps versus bots.
Yeah. Yeah. And, like, I do know that was one of the complaints about Titanfall is apparently, like, I don't think there's a way right now for you to just play it with bots, and that's part of the complaint, but still, like, I mean, then again, like, I don't think you can really play Team Fortress 2 with just bots either, and that's one of the most popular multiplayer games in the world. I could be wrong about that. I've just never seen anyone play with bots only on Team Fortress 2.
League of Legends, most popular online multiplayer game.
Yeah.
League of Legends.
Yes.
Yeah, and I believe you can't play at all with bots on that. Am I wrong?
I've played I played like 1 or 2 years ago. I think 2 years ago, and there's bots in the training mode.
Okay.
Like before it lets you go out and go against other players, you have to go against some bots first.
Yeah.
But it's not like that is the core game. You're not going to be playing League of Legends just to go against those, first few matches of bots.
Yeah, which makes sense. But so, like I said, I'm not really sure where like we were gonna go with the topic. Like I said, I was just kind of trying to come up with different stuff.
I think that trying to implement a single player to a multiplayer game and vice versa, implementing a multiplayer to a single player game, it's starting to get pretty difficult, and these developers are really trying to force it. Like, for example, God of War with their multiplayer and God of War Ascension.
They have multiplayer in God of War now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
See, I think the biggest problem is too, and it's like what happened right around. Sorry to bring this back up, but the original Call of Duty Modern Warfare that brought like people like, oh my god, multiplayer and stuff like that. What happened is that a lot of these companies started playing it safe. They just come into a design room and stuff, and they'll say, we gotta have multiplayer and stuff. So it almost seemed like it was tacked on, shoehorned and stuff, where they could have focused more of that energy on delivering a really solid single player first person game, which I mean, I grew up on those, man. I mean, I love a great story or just dumb fun presented through. I mean, like Painkiller. Come on now, Serious Sam. I
didn't really like Painkiller.
You didn't like Painkiller?
Like,
I don't know.
I played like 3 or 4 hours of it, and I only got like, I think 3 weapons, and I'm like, these weapons aren't even that good because
Yeah.
like you got like this stake gun that wasn't very. It was very slow, and the
There
shotgun wasn't
there was a
very
gun
good.
that shot shurikens and lightning.
I didn't get that far.
Your argument's invalid.
I didn't get that far. They should have
Yeah.
let me get that gun earlier in the game.
Yeah. Oh well, I mean, I brought that up just really because I mean those were like the old school backpedal FPSs, where it was just destroy as much things that you can see and kind of stuff. And those still brought like a lot of fun to, just like dumb fun, not even narrative based fun and stuff. But I think it's a lot of, especially with your grim and gritty brown colored FPS Modern Warfare, games and stuff like that. They try to just shoehorn multiplayer in there. And then, and it almost seems like they put a little bit more attention onto it, whereas as me, I'm not going to play a game unless it has a really solid single-player game. Now, granted, I'll bash on Titanfall here and there and stuff like that just because, I don't see too much of the zeal. But then again, I do like that they're sticking to the guns, I'm glad that they didn't, because you can do the same thing. We made a great multiplayer game that is meant for multiplayer and stuff like that. But we better cater to some of these people asking for a single player. So they shoehorn this really crappy one. So, someone like me is like, wow, Titanfall graphics and robots and stuff like that. And it's got a single player. And then I pick it up for, an investment of $60.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then play through a single player that lasts 3 hours.
Yep.
On one of the more difficult level settings and something like that. It's like, here you go. And it's like, well, here's multiplayer.
Yeah,
I don't like the fact that they'll shoehorn something in. I like the fact that, go big or go home. Because, I mean, we have a really wide distribution of games and stuff like that. And then there's people out there that, I've heard of people with the, latest Call of Duty games and stuff like that. They don't even touch the single player anymore.
Yeah.
They don't. The first thing they do is go straight to multiplayer.
Yeah.
And
But I mean, I can understand people wanting a single player for Titanfall because of the fact that the game controls so much different than what they're used to.
Yeah.
You have your wall running, you have your jetpacks, you have your Titans, and all that's really fun. But there are people who just don't like multiplayer.
yeah.
So, but at the same time, though, I do agree with you with the tacked on single player because, I mean, Battlefield, ever since Bad Company's kind of been doing that. It's like, oh, well, here's Battlefield 4, and we have a single player, but if you play the single player, it's generic, it's not good, it's not entertaining at all. You beat it in 3 hours, and then you're like, okay, back to the real Battlefield game. Because, I mean, that's what it's about. And, Respawn seems that, that was what they always wanted to do with Titanfall. They never wanted to make it single player. And, good on them for doing that. I am a little bit worried, though, about the longevity of the game because I've noticed with multiplayer only games, you have to keep constant content coming at people to keep the fan base going. Otherwise, they drift off. And so I'm interested to see if they plan to do it kind of the Call of Duty way and release $20 DLCs every 3 months, or if they're going to do more of a Team Fortress type thing where they do kind of random, sporadic.
It's EA, dude.
well, EA's publishing. Respawn's the one that made it.
But they got the deal with EA, so they got to answer to the hand that feeds.
I know.
And Team Fortress has was recently they got to 119 updates, and all of them for free. You don't have to pay for any of them. In fact, the game is a free to play game.
Yeah.
And it's awesome how they continuously, keep the game fresh and updated. Even though I've mentioned on the show how the fact that they changed the game so much has drove me away from the game, it's still, for people who are still into it, it's awesome for them. I mean, going back to what you mentioned about them selling the DLC with Titanfall, which will, they already mentioned that they have a season pass.
Oh, okay.
Yes. To me, I'm thinking, okay, this game is a multiplayer only game. It's $60, season pass. It sounds very expensive. You're paying a lot of money for, there's no single player at all. And it just makes it harder to jump into. Just the fact that I gotta think more about whether I really want to spend my money on this. And EA they recently released another game that's multiplayer only, which is Garden Warfare, the Plants vs Zombies game. They released that $40 instead of $60, and that, I don't know, that's a very weird price point because it makes it seem like it's either an expensive downloadable game or a cheap AAA game.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, I think also like the Plants vs Zombies like Warfare game, it's gonna have a little bit of a bad rap to it just because like it mostly came from like cell phone and very casual computer-esque games. But I mean, granted, I haven't played it yet, but I've seen some of it, and like, man, does it look stupid fun.
Yeah.
Like, because, I mean, yeah, I like a great narrative, I like challenge and stuff, but sometimes I just want to like
shoot people in the face.
Yeah, and it's like, there's a gun that shoots dolphins. Well, it's a dolphin gun that shoots fish, and I'm like, I gotta have that. Really, I mean,
Saints Row, dude. You got a shark gun.
Yeah,
line shark gun.
Oh yeah, that is true. I mean, but those stupid fun games are out there. But yeah, I haven't played Titanfall. I actually today I was in class and some kid, instead of doing anything in that class, just Titanfall, man. He was playing.
What class was this?
This was a N221 with Travis Foss, basic like JavaScript.
Oh, okay.
Stuff.
Man, that dude needs to be paying attention. That class is hard.
Yeah, but I got to actually see a little bit of it. I didn't get to hear it. That's that was the one thing I wanted to hear it, because like mechanical machines and explosions and gunshots. Those are I love them. But from what I noticed, like I saw, his character moving around and stuff, and then, I mean, it looked really interesting. Like I was like, wow, this almost brings me back to old school Tribes and stuff, just like jumping around and moving and stuff like that. And it looked like the gunplay and stuff was really like, crisp and nice and stuff like that. But, it could have been just what the game he was playing. I didn't get to see any of his menus or any of his drop-down stuff. I just got to see him running around in a, futuristic kind of place. But, if you're going to make a multiplayer-only game, get creative. Deathmatch, capture the flag, territory. I mean, that's in every multiplayer, first-person shooter game. Already they have
those are the modes in that game too.
Yeah. It's like you already have that cool, that kind of neat concept where, like, if a team's losing, you guys have to, fall back to a drop ship and stuff like that. And if you're the winning team, you got to advance on them and just kind of take them out and stuff like that. But, you've got so many levels of play here and stuff, and I don't know if there's like factions in the game, or if there's like I imagine there's like two sides of something. I don't know why just every random person's like, you're on my side, I hate you.
Like both the factions are pretty much equal. Like they both have the same class types and all that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, not just like the class types or anything, but like the actual, I guess, what the factions are. Like, we're the red team, we're the blue team, kind of thing.
You have like pretty much the corporation, and you have the rebels.
Yeah. But I think more mission based. Very unique mission-based things and here's something that could be done really well. It's kind of like Team Fortress 2 does. Like right around Christmas or right around Halloween, they always have those like Halloween maps and stuff like that. Those are so fun. They just kind of, fun with it. And when you play during those times, that's when you can start racking up like new items and experience a whole different kind of level and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Start doing that. Start making a story yourself and start releasing it to people.
Every Halloween, Team Fortress has like a special boss fight.
Yeah,
thing.
and like the bosses are really cool. So just make scenarios that you release to people, and then like just circulate it through in the the maps and stuff like that. Have like a dedicated map place that's like, okay, side-on missions, or it's like, for it's March 20th, well, whatever. Here's some story and stuff.
It's
and then,
April 20th. Everybody can fly higher.
Yeah, well, I mean, you can even do that, like some really weird perks or something like that, or tie it into the storyline. Say something like, due to manufacturing problems within the robot. I mean, these big giant Titans, basically, right? They have to be manufactured, right? Say that there's a big problem with some of the ore and stuff, and then decrease the amount of Titans that can come out. So people have to focus mainly on their run and gun and stuff like that, and don't have to worry about Titans. Next time, have a weapon shortage or something like that. Everybody, is decreased ammunition or something like that. Or have it like old school, throw the weapons out.
Everyone has infinite ammo.
Or something like that.
No, I'm just saying everyone has infinite ammo in that game. Like,
okay.
you reload. I mean, like the only ammo is like what's in your clip, and then you have to reload, and that's it.
Okay. Well, have it something like that, like where I mean, because they've got a big world to play with. You got a multiplayer world that's not finite as most single player games are and stuff. Can mold it and shift it to your own. And you don't have to release these maps for a very, very long time. Have a nice forum base for players to get on and talk about it and stuff, okay, for a week, oh, I hated this map, it was blah, and you get on there and this map should have had this and this and this. Developers look at that and be like, he's had a good idea. So they start making a whole new mission, and then guess what? And in like 3 weeks' time, you are gods. Thank you. And then it gives people a little bit more, and it keeps the longevity of the game up. I mean, because I would always be killing and like waiting for the next, set of maps and stuff like that. And then like if there's character classes and stuff like that, every once in a while, change up a character class, tie it into the story somehow. Make it a living multiplayer game. Stop making these
I've read
generic...
that they're talking about putting in a PvE mode in which it's like players versus dinosaurs, because they already have shown that they're like these dinosaur type aliens on this planet. Like you could see them in the backgrounds of the stages, and they showed them in the trailer as well. So there's talk that there is going to be a mode that is like like 6 people versus a giant dinosaur.
So they're trying to capitalize on the Evolve release trailer. Oh well, that's a cool idea. We should do that. I don't know. It's just multiplayer only games. There's so much room for developers to really capitalize on it. And even at a high price point, like a $60 AAA title with like a $20 add-on season pass or something like that. A season pass, have that for just regular base maps and weapons and stuff that stay into a general pool, because sometimes maybe I don't want to deal with these like side missions or these special events or something like that. I just want to get on there and play a deathmatch round or two or something like that. They have that available, but then you have a story and something that can mold, or even, if people choose their own sets of classes, right? It's like, okay, well, I'm with the red team or I'm with the blue team. Blue team killed it last time, right? Blue team just for some reason every time the blue team, every time the blue team got on there, the reds were annihilated, right? Make the next story mission based around their victory, and then maybe it's the red team's retaliation. So it's like a base capture match. They have like a small fire base out in the middle of wherever, and then you have just, either a surrounding horde of reds or like a full-on frontal assault kind of thing. And then it's kind of the way for like, okay, us reds can take back, and gives them just a teeny bit of like, an advantage for that time. So all the blue team members would have to be like, okay, I really got to think defensively, and then being able to help out all of my friends that are within this base area or something like that to really succeed. So they're not only covering my butt, but I'm covering them as well, while making sure that anything that's coming at us is good. Red team's all like, okay, I got to figure out how to break defenses and stuff.
Man.
So you give two separate sides of people whole different strategies to think about for an entire week or an entire month or an entire year.
Man,
How long
did you like think about all this stuff? Were you like sitting in your room like, Titanfall needs more?
Well, some of this stuff, some of this stuff has just been kind of running ideas that I've had, like that, excuse me, the game Mag. Remember
Yes.
Mag, that
Mag.
huge game and stuff? That's what I was thinking was going to come out of it. Like, from what I read and stuff, I was like, this is it. This is my holy grail of online, and then it came out to not even be anything close to it. I mean, yeah, it was still kind of cool for a little bit, but multiplayer only games, if you're going to do that and you're going to make it around it, not the same, Call of Duties or like the Killzone or a Battlefield type of, Battlefield kind of has missions or something like that, but you get the strategies really quick. What is the best thing that happens and stuff, and it's like, okay, well, this entire place can be blown to whatever and stuff. Okay, yeah, but if you blow up that building right there, we have an incredible advantage on this side. It's a stale strategy. It's something that everyone's going to go to, so when it comes down to it, it's just about who gets more kills, or who's lucky enough to have a lot of people with rocket launchers or sniper rifles on their team or something like that. And that's not what to me war should be about and stuff. It should be about divide and conquer your enemy in some way, and then war always changes depending on the scenarios, and something
War never
changes.
So
okay, well, maybe war never changes, but the battles should
no, it
always
depends on who you ask.
change.
Are you asking Fallout 3 or are you asking Solid Snake? Because it either has changed or never
changes.
Yeah.
So, kind of shifting the discussion a little bit. So we're not just talking about Titanfall.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that goes with any type of
like-
multiplayer game. Developers, I'm talking to you.
So, do you guys feel like a game needs to have both multiplayer and single player for it to be a full $60 game? Do you feel like it gets cheapened if it only has one of the two modes? Because like I mentioned earlier, I feel like Titanfall is a bit expensive, because it's only multiplayer and, no single player. But like at the same time, I feel like, like you were saying earlier, go all out. You need to do what you do best and make the game really good. Like, for example, Spec Ops: The Line, awesome game, and it had this terrible tacked on multiplayer that it totally did not need. I can't really decide whether a game needs both or one or the other, because I've mentioned on the show before, like Infamous. The new one, I'm not really too excited for it because it has only single player, no co-op. I felt that when I was playing Infamous 2, I felt like that game needed co-op, because there are games like Crackdown, and now there's Saints Row 4, which is another superhero game that's co-op. So I don't know, like it's really hard for me to decide. What do you guys think? Matt, you haven't said much yet.
I mean, I don't know. Most of my I do play quite a few multiplayer games. I do play quite a few just single player only games. The multiplayer only games, I will admit, I usually buy them at a cheaper price than full price, just because that's how I am. I know the community is going to eventually probably die. Eventually, I think that's part of the reason why. Whereas with a single player game, I'm more likely to pay the $60 because if I go back to it 10 years from now, I still have the full experience. Whereas I can't say that, if I come to Team Fortress 2 10 years from now, I'll still have the same experience as I do right now, because chances are there's only going to be like 3 servers that maybe have 5 guys in each of them. So that's kind of how I feel about it personally. At the same time, though, I do think that, the developers are putting just as much work in it, like in a multiplayer game, as they put in a single player, if not more so, to make sure all the servers and everything are staying up. So, they need to price it accordingly.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the way I look at it. Like, I won't, I will probably not buy Titanfall at full price, but then again, I was probably never going to buy Titanfall at full price, even if it had single player and multiplayer. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of the way I look at it.
Yeah, I feel like it's hard to give an overall generic blanket statement on all games need to blah, because it's on a game by game basis, mm-hmm. on whether it's okay, God of War, that single from what I hear, I haven't played the game God of War Ascension. It's I hear that it was lacking a lot of story compared to the the other God of Wars, and from what it sounds like, they could have put some more resources towards making that single player better, because no one cares about that multiplayer.
Yeah.
I played that the beta for the multiplayer once, and I was that was interesting.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And from what it sounds like from most people who actually bought the game and played the game, it was the same thing. People were okay, I'm gonna play this once, and I got my fix. That's mm-hmm. enough. So it just seems like it was wasted resources, on Santa Monica Studios, as far as putting money towards that multiplayer and not making that single player better.
Yeah, I think in my argument, as far as God of War, I think the only good one is the first one, because it actually follows.
That's the only good one?
It's the only good one. I'm telling you, because
come on now.
Okay, combat or whatever, not. They're all the same. But the first one's the only one that follows a Greek tragedy to the T.
But it's not. It has every element.
It's
not supposed to be a retelling of Greek mythology. It's
not
a
Greek mythology, but I'm saying the story type for it, the journey.
2 was awesome. 2 was awesome.
Had its moments, it was kind of cool
awesome.
And stuff like that. But I don't know. I can go on forever.
2 was awesome.
But what I'll say is that I think with the God of War and stuff, that was a tacked on thing to try to keep the series alive. Mm-hmm. Because you close it up with one of the most god awful endings in a video game that I've ever witnessed, ever.
Yeah, I didn't like the ending either.
Yeah, like I said, it goes back to what the series could have been from the first game. Brilliant setup. It had one of the most brilliant tutorial setups in gaming since some of the old school games, mm-hmm. and how it got people interested and how it hooked them in within those first 5 minutes or something like that. How it exposed the player to the player and what they should expect from the rest of the game, and it didn't work too much on the whole Skinner box theory of keeping people hooked and stuff like that. It was a great game, and the story flowed well, and if it ended right there, if that was the only God of War, it would be on my top 10 list. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. But it was the 2 other games that they did that they cashed in on the gore factor. It's the same thing that happened with Dante's Inferno, that moldy, crusty pile of absolute inaccurate history garbage. Dante, a Templar or something. It's did they not read the book whatsoever? But, that goes into classical history, and I won't go there.
I hear the game was good, though.
Yeah, it was fun.
It was fun, and it looked okay, but, oh, man, I was this is...
Just imagine it's based on something else.
This is almost sacrilege or something, man. This is
just imagine it's based on nothing.
Yeah, well... Well, then, if it's that in the case, yeah, it was an okay game. But anyway, it's as far as Titanfall is concerned and stuff. I think it has to come down to the level of interaction or content that I'm experiencing. How much the developers really put into this, and how much of of a great game that they think that they're releasing and stuff like that. Because there's a lot of titles out there that are getting $60 price points just because, they think they can, when, I wouldn't give them $5 for the game and stuff, So when it comes down to like being either a multiplayer or a single player or having both, make it work for the game. Dark Souls is a great example. Here's a game that has a single player and the multiplayer incorporated into each other. Now, with any game that has a multiplayer, fan base will deteriorate. So there's not going to be very many people. I'd like to still see if there's online players for the original Demon Souls, because there's probably not. Yeah.
So.
But like for the original Dark Souls, it's like I don't get to see very many people very, very often, And when I finally do, these guys are real elite, players and stuff like that. But here's the cool thing about it. It still left me with the shell of an amazing single-player game. So it wasn't like after the servers are gone, your beef mechanic of the game, your multiplayer, well, it's just hollow and there's nobody in it. It's like now I just get to be in the waiting room with, that one, like, have you ever been in the waiting room of like a dentist and they have that one like weird spinny toy thing that you kind of, it's like you play with for like a few minutes or something like that.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's it, So Dark Souls is a great idea. Keep them intertwined, keep them together. And then, if one side's gone, you still have the strong basis of
that's
another
the unfortunate thing about multiplayer only games is that they're only playable while the community is alive, because as soon as the community dies or once the servers shut down, it's unplayable.
Yeah.
Like Mag, unplayable.
Yeah.
The servers are shut down.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like
I mean, you do have those cult followings like the Star Wars Galaxy guys that threw up a new server, but usually, like, once it's down, it's permadown, and you'll never see anyone on there again.
Like if I want to play Tribes 2, there's like only one server up, and I'm not even sure if that server's still up.
I'm sure you can find a Tribes 2 server. I am certain.
More
you
than
can.
likely.
But the last few years I've been trying to play the game, there was only one server. It was Goonhaven, and but. We should wrap up this topic. If you guys have any like final words to say.
No, I got.
I can only say is like when it comes to multiplayer only, if you have a great single player game and you think you should have multiplayer, don't do it. Focus on your single player. If you have a multiplayer only game, don't worry about shoehorning in a single player. Focus on it and keep it alive for your community, as long and as possible as you can. Think outside of the box of what Call of Duty is doing or what Battlefield is doing. Make it your own, because, I mean, really, what else is there to keep making these carbon copies of themselves because they're safe?
In the face.
We should, and as far as gamers ourselves, we should be demanding for innovation like that. We should be, telling developers, no, we don't want your safe, easy games just because it's going to limit your risk factor or something like that. Go above and beyond. I understand that, money's an issue and things like that, but with EA and the type of money and stuff that they have, you can push it a little bit more. We're still hoping, EA, that you come out of the pile of, garbage that you've, kind of shoehorned yourself into. But
final words, Matt?
That was everything I had to say, honestly.
All right. We are going to take what I'm going to be calling a movie maker intermission. Yeah. So the audio is going to continue as I'm saving the video. And I am starting a new video here in a second, if I can find where.
Remember, we're still trying to work out this kinks.
Yeah.
Yes. So
Well, Staffa is. I ain't work.
Yeah, we're not touching this.
2, 1. There we go. All right. We should be synchronized up, and we're ready to move on to the next topic, which is news.
Awesome.
And the first news topic I got, Unreal Engine 4 is now running on a web browser. I mean, Unreal Engine 4 is not out yet. So, they're still working on it, but they have partnered up with Mozilla. They got it running on Firefox with no plugins at all. You do not have to download any plugins. It'll, run natively on Firefox. I'm assuming they'll probably gonna try to do it with Internet Explorer, Safari, Chrome. Try to get the major ones.
So,
that's really cool.
yeah, like do you still have to have a killer rig to run it, or like I would
from the article I read, they mentioned that they feel like web browser games is important. They can't leave that out. So I'm assuming it's not gonna be like you're not gonna be playing the next Gears of War game on there. It's gonna be like something simple, something to basically compete with Unity, because Unity you can run that on web browser, same as Flash. Flash has been doing it since like the Stone Age, and so I think that's definitely a good thing for developers to open up doors, because one reason that I prefer Unity over Unreal, other than Unreal, is like you have to do some ritual to get it to work, and make some sacrifice a virgin, and do all sorts of stuff, do a rain dance just to make it not crash on you. Unity has browser support. Unity has Linux support. Unity is you have a lot more options with Unity, and so Unity is more appealing to students like us. It's more appealing to indie developers, and Unreal only has that that AAA appeal, and the fact that they're doing web browser support now and possibly mobile support too. Definitely opens up a lot more doors. What do you guys think? You guys have any thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, to really like not cash in on a level of gaming that is still out there, web browser games, the same thing they said about like tablet and phone games. They're like, oh, that'll never do anything and stuff like that. I mean, there's some pretty neat stuff out there as far as like tablet and phone games. And I grew up with Flash games. I mean, a lot of people did, and I thought
Newgrounds.
Yep. And I think that's it's a realm definitely for up and coming indie developers to really get out some really cool ideas, and so
especially if they release UE4 free, just as they did with UDK.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So,
definitely. And I mean, like I know Epic's been kind of like feeling out the mobile market a little bit with like their Infinity Blade series and stuff like that, just to see if like they can do it with Unreal Engine and if it will like sell. And they've been, from what I hear, pretty successful with it. So
yes. Yeah, it's been so successful that the studio Chair is only making Infinity Blade now because of how successful it was, and that's kind of disappointing, because the fact that Chair worked on Shadow Complex.
Oh, cool.
And they will never make a Shadow Complex 2 because the fact that they are only going to be making Infinity Blades now.
Yeah.
Because the fact that Infinity Blade made them more money than Shadow Complex did. Even though that was, from what I understand, it was pretty successful. It's just Infinity Blade was more successful.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm still waiting for Epic to come out with Jazz Jackrabbit 3, and we're not seeing that anytime soon. So,
yeah, I want Cher to work on Advent Rising 2. That's never gonna happen.
I actually would love to see an end to that trilogy, and I know I'm like one of the 3 guys that would.
I'm the second. There we go. We just need to find the other third guy.
We just find the other guy.
The other third guy is Orson Scott Card.
Probably. That's it.
All right, so let's move on to the next news topic, which is Phil Spencer, who is one of the big wigs of Microsoft. He responds to the games with gold concerns. Basically, a lot of fans have, let the concern out or gave them feedback that, hey, a lot of these games are old.
Yeah.
Hey, you're giving us Halo 3, you're giving us Assassin's Creed 2, you're giving us Fable 3. Did they give him Fable 3?
Yeah, Fable 3, yeah.
Yeah. What was the latest games that they've given him?
Toy Soldiers, Dead Island, trying to think. Toy Soldiers was the most recent one. Civilization right now.
Oh, Civ Rev.
Yeah, Civ Rev. I mean,
yeah, but basically, like most of their games, I mean, Dead Island sounds. I mean, that was like 2 years ago.
yeah,
So,
I mean it's newish.
but for the most part, like they've been putting out games that are like 4, 5, 6 years old, and in comparison to PlayStation Plus, that is just not as appealing because PlayStation Plus, just this year alone, they put out games that come out last year. They put out Bioshock Infinite, Tomb Raider, Devil May Cry, which I don't care what you say. I still think it's a good game. It's a good game. They put out games that came out last year.
Yeah.
Not even a year old.
And that's what I really liked about the whole. A lot of people were up in arms about like PlayStation 4 making it. I have to have PlayStation Plus to play online. That's ridiculous. And I'm like, do you realize how much how much money worth of games that they just released this year alone so far? I mean, Borderlands 2, Bioshock Infinite, Tomb Raider, which, I mean, they just, not too long ago, like a handful of months ago, they released DLC for it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like, I disagree with their choice on charging for online multiplayer. I don't like that. But at the same time, I feel like if you are a PlayStation owner and you don't have PlayStation Plus, you're doing it wrong.
Yeah, absolutely. Because, I mean, there's just way too much, I mean, I guess there's like some of the casual-esque players that, but really if you're going to buy a system for, like 1 or 2 plays here and there, really reconsider like why are you going to dish out $400 for a system? Really consider that. Is it just the hype of it? Oh, I got to have a PlayStation 4. And it's like, oh, wow, what do you like about it and stuff?
Netflix.
Yeah, it's like you're buying a $400 Netflix player. Come on, man. I mean, the Wii plays Netflix.
Yeah.
My phone plays Netflix. You can find other mediums to play Netflix on. Hey, you have a laptop that plays Netflix. I mean,
yeah. Going back to the article, so what Phil Spencer said is, in reply to, hey, these games are a lot older than PlayStation Plus. He said that they are the two services, Games with Gold and PlayStation Plus, are fundamentally different, in which you get to keep the games even after you end your Gold subscription. Because with PlayStation Plus, as most of us know, once you end your PlayStation Plus, you cannot play those games that you got for free with PlayStation Plus. You can keep the games that you purchase, like with your PlayStation Plus discount, but you can't keep the games that
you got for free. Hey, I never, and this is just me, I've never answered this question for myself, but let's say I ended my PlayStation Plus membership and then got it back. Can those games still be played?
As far as I know, yes.
Okay,
yes,
no.
you can. You just need.
I think I should have known that sometime, but I don't know. I've just never answered the question. I was just like, oh my god, free games! That's awesome.
Yeah.
And also, Phil Spencer said that he's playing a more active role in selecting the games now. So his statement on the two services being fundamentally different, I'm not sure if he's saying that because the fact that you keep the games afterwards it makes it harder for them to come up with contracts with the publishers. I'm not sure if that's one thing he's trying to say, but the other thing that I'm pretty sure he's saying is, hey, ours is better because you get to keep the games.
Yeah.
And the way how I see it, I don't see it as that much of a perk, because if you're playing multiplayer, if you're playing on 360 or Xbox One and you want to play multiplayer games, you're going to have gold regardless.
Yeah.
You have no choice. So like it's either you're into multiplayer games or you're not. And you're going to have that gold regardless. So the fact that your game stays with you after you end your gold subscription, I don't see that affecting many people at all, because like I said, people are going to either have it or they don't.
Well, I mean, I can kind of see where he's coming from, because, like, technically, whenever they, because they will eventually, whenever they shut down Xbox Live support for the 360, I mean, you can have a hard drive where you just download all your games from Gold and just save it to that, and then you have them permanently. Whereas with PlayStation Plus, you really can't, but that's really the only minor benefit I can see above PlayStation Plus.
By the time they shut down those 360 servers, how much longer are those 360s going to last? Because you got to take consideration that these consoles are not going to last as long as our NESs and Super Nintendos, because these have moving parts. Anything with a moving part is not going to last as long as something that without moving parts.
It just I think too with it's when it comes down to like PlayStation Plus, I've noticed too, like, okay, you don't get to keep the games or play the games after your PlayStation Plus subscription is lost. But, I mean, the games that they've released, it's almost like getting the chance to rent a game for a month, and then or holding on to it indefinitely if you want to for free.
Yeah.
I mean, some of these games, like now, I can still walk into a GameStop used games are still like $30, and get that for free. And then it's like most of these games too. It's like, I mean, how many times do you want to relive a lot of these games? I mean, granted, there are some tried and true classics that might come out of this, but it's like this is a chance to get to experiment and play games that you've never thought of and stuff like that. It's like, okay, they had one on their Binary Domain or whatever, or something like that. I played it, I beat it.
Yep.
Neat.
That game was silly.
I'm not gonna ever play it or beat it again.
That game was silly.
I'm not, no hard feelings. That it was like after I was done with it, ending screen happened, all that stuff, and I was like, neat. Next thing I did was delete it.
That twist.
Oh my god, I was so pissed. I paid $40 for that game.
Like I was listening to another podcast, and like this one guy was hyping it up so much, like he was hyping it up as big as like Spec Ops: The Line. And like I was like, okay, I gotta get to this twist, and when I got to the twist, I was like, one, I didn't expect that, but two, that was pretty stupid.
Yeah, it was not like Spec Ops: The Line.
Stupid. But going back to this news article. Statistically, people, the majority of people do not beat games. Like you can they get these statistics from looking at people's like trophies and achievements. So developers and publishers, they get these statistics, and statistically most people don't play games. So the fact that you're telling people, hey, you can continue to play this game forever, I don't think that's a selling point, because most people are just plain simple, just not gonna replay the game. I think the way how PlayStation Plus works, with like, oh, you can only play this while you have PlayStation Plus, it's not that big of a deal, because most people only play the game once, if they beat the game, probably only once. The people who will play the game and beat it more than once, that percentage of people is just so small that I don't think it's going to make that big of a difference, of a selling point between someone who's going to be like, well, I got to go with games with gold because I got to make sure I play this game even after I end my gold subscription. I don't think that those number of people I mean, those people exist,
Yeah.
but it's just not
Yeah.
that big of a number.
Yeah, I think really, it almost kind of looks like it's like a yeah, you get to keep the games kind of thing. But you're already releasing titles that are relatively older and stuff like that. It's like for one,
Who doesn't have Halo 3?
yeah, I mean, most people are going to own these bigger name title games that you're releasing and stuff like that. Now you have with PlayStation, with PlayStation Plus, you have the chance to catch up on, those one or two games that, like, in the last, like last year or something like that, you just were never able to, like, grab onto because you either didn't have the money or you had like 3 other games already lined up that you wanted to play really bad, and that one's just not. So that's the kind of opportunities that like the PlayStation Plus, and then where I think it's like nailing home and stuff, and like you said, your Xbox is almost worthless without like a gold membership.
Yeah, pretty much.
In a sense, and then like with PlayStation,
unless you only want single player games.
yeah,
Well, even then, it's still kind of worthless.
yeah, I mean, yeah,
I mean, and this is coming from a guy who owns an Xbox, but
yeah, I did not get very much enjoyment out of my Xbox 360. I was just like, whatever.
I will say though, one great thing about Games of Gold is it has revitalized a lot of like old communities that died down. Like Halo 3, that like half a month whenever it was on like for free for gold, it was freaking awesome because it was like, I remember when I was in high school and Halo 3 came out and it was like that again on the servers. Like, everyone's like, God, why did I ever stop playing this game? It's just like, yeah, Griffball for the whole week. Like, it was awesome. But I do agree with you. PlayStation Plus does seem like a better deal, even still.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to the next news article. Let's talk about Witcher 3. Witcher 3 is, I mean, can we agree that it was one of the bigger titles of this year that, up and coming games?
Yeah, it's on my hype train.
Yeah, it got delayed to, they said at the latest February of 2015.
Yep.
I don't know if I am just like being selfish, but I feel happy that it got delayed because I haven't beat Witcher 2 yet.
I mean, I'm a little bit disappointed that I'm not going to be able to play it until like, I mean, I think they only delayed it like 4 months? I mean, it wasn't like they delayed it a huge amount.
Yeah, it was expected to come out like late this year anyways, so
but like, I mean, if they're delaying it, I mean, it's CG Projekt Red. They haven't disappointed me yet. And I'm still gonna buy it launch day. I'm excited.
You know what? I really need to get into that series. Everyone just keeps talking about it and stuff, and I've never gotten around to playing it because like.
Same here. I haven't really got too far in Witcher 2. In fact, if I get back into it, which I want to, I'll have to restart the game because I wasn't that far anyways, and I want to restart it with controller because I was playing with mouse and keyboard and it was not very good.
Yeah.
Using the 1 through 8 keys is not appealing to me, so I'm gonna restart it with controller.
I mean, it's one of those games. If you're used to like the old like computer RPGs like Baldur's Gate and stuff, it's perfect. If you've never played those, like just get it on the 360 and play it.
I have an ergonomic keyboard, so like 7 and 8 are like on the other side of the world for me. Yeah, it is so far away because I got ergonomic keyboard. For people who don't know what an ergonomic keyboard is, it's they're curved so it like fits your hands more naturally, and it's kind of like split in the middle as far as the keys. So your keys for your left hand and keys for your right hand, it's hard to reach over to get those other keys. But with that aside, I do want to get back into Witcher. Like, it just seems like a very cool world. They did say that Cyberpunk 2077, which is their other game, the other announced game that they're working on, it should not be affected by this delay.
Well, they've never even announced it yet. Like, I believe the release date is when it's ready, according to the website. So it's like,
yeah, when we get around to it,
like so it's not even like, even if like this did affect it, like we know about it.
Yeah, we'll get to it on my lunch break. Jeez, trying to do this Witcher.
Well, they did say that they're having a few of the game designers of Cyberpunk 2077 working on the last few quests for Witcher 3 just to help speed things up. But they're not. They said that it's not going to like affect what's going on with Cyberpunk.
Hopefully.
So, any other thoughts on that before we move on?
No.
Nope.
Game of the year.
Oh man, I just put a mark on the wrong window. There we go. Boom. All right. So, last news article I got: Flappy Bird, everyone's favorite game.
Yeah.
The Dark Souls of mobile. Flap. So Flappy Bird, it might come back. That's what the creator of Flappy Bird said. I'm not even gonna try to pronounce his name because
That guy.
I need 4 more Corvettes and Lamborghinis. I better release Flappy Bird. You know what? I'm kind of thinking and I'm not saying this. I'm gonna start the rumor here on Out It Continues. I know what it was.
Confirmed.
I know what it is.
Confirmed.
It's the new Coke classic Coke scam thing that Coke did. You know how they got rid of Coke and then they're like, here, try new Coke, and you drank it and it was like drinking garbage water. And then they were like, here's some classic Coke. and then people just bought that stuff
he's
up.
basically trying to he's trying to get people to talk about it by removing it, and then
man, he's making people crazy.
Supply and demand. Supply and demand.
Have you seen how many just indie developers have made their own versions of Flappy Bird?
Yes.
Right as soon as he had
Yes.
just announced it, he's gonna release it again, and he's gonna add another bird or something.
Mm-hmm.
All it is it's the same bird, just some colors mixed around.
Yeah. People are
He's
go
going to
nuts.
make he's gonna have more money than J.K. Rowling.
Well, basically, what happened is one of the journalists for Rolling Stone was able to eventually get in contact with him because he got really fed up with all the media trying to contact him, but somehow this Rolling Stone guy was able to he got his attention.
Mm-hmm.
So the developer, he says that he can't go back to a simple life anymore, and that was one of the reasons why he pulled the game, or why he said he pulled the game, because he just wanted to live a simple life. He just wanted to develop games. He didn't want to be a businessman because all these people were giving him business offers and PR stuff, and he could not handle it. He just wants to be a developer and make games. So he said he's come to terms that he can't go back to a simple life anymore, and he's good now. He left his job, and he started spending some of that money that he made, and from Flappy Bird, which was the $50,000 per day.
Yeah.
He can bathe in money now.
Well, especially since he lives in Korea, and $50,000 for Korea is several.
Yeah, he's a multimillionaire over there now.
like a decade's worth of money or so.
Yeah.
Or
well, I mean, now he's if he doesn't want to be a businessman, now he's got something. I mean, I don't know how much he's net worth there, but I mean, now you have a chance to do something extremely good for something.
Well,
start giving that money out to other people that are want to be developers just like yourself. Be and I mean, yeah, it's
I doubt he's gonna do that.
Yeah, well,
especially since he says he doesn't want to be a businessman. He doesn't want to he doesn't want to do all those accounting stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it's not
figure things
necessarily that. It's just take a little bit of your money and then start giving it in some way, just not necessarily here's blank charity for PR time, because that's what a lot of people will do for that. But I mean, he's got a chance to do something incredibly good for this, and pop back on on Flappy Bird, make some more money or whatever, not but do something with it. If you don't want to be a businessman or something like that, just keep trying to be the best you that you can possibly be with all this stuff.
One thing that he mentions in this article is that all the people that were complaining about how they were addicted to Flappy Bird, it reminded him of when he was in high school and he was addicted to Counter-Strike.
Yeah.
So that was one of the reasons why it really bugged him, because apparently he had a Counter-Strike addiction problem.
Yeah.
We all had that. We all
so-
went through that phase.
Not me. I can't aim.
I did it real bad, like freshman, sophomore year of high school. It was like,
Anyone who can't aim hates Counter-Strike, and I can't aim.
I got lucky, man, and I didn't get into Counter-Strike until after high school because, I mean, I had some pretty game compulsion issues with some games and stuff like that. I mean, dude, it's really out there. I've heard of like people really ruining their lives because of that kind of stuff.
yeah, no, like, I mean, it gets bad whenever you're sitting there, like, and you're in class, and for notes, instead of taking notes, you're doing strategies for Counter-Strike because that's what you're thinking about.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's like your entire being is that and stuff. So, and I can understand, a game that is like Flappy Bird, it works off the Skinner box, Skinner box method of drawing people in and stuff like that. It's the same thing as how people can be addicted to slot machines.
Mm-hmm.
It's even after they've lost money, they still feel like they're winning in some sort of in some way. And in Counter-Strike it's Counter-Strike and Call of Duty are definitely like close to the same thing as far as like how the reward system goes.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Counter-Strike is a little bit more in your face about it and stuff, but I don't know. Counter-Strike, it just had an immediate reward system. You started off small, and then by the next round, look at you. You're buying some better weapons.
It was more like Dota and League of Legends. You start off level 1 and work your way up.
Yeah.
But he says that he might bring it back. He's thinking of bringing it back. But if he does, it will come with a warning, telling players, hey, take a break. Don't keep playing this game.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes,
because apparently, the whole gaming addiction thing is, it hit home with him, and he, he's just, afraid of making it a problem for other people.
Yeah.
So,
well, what you can do is start taking some of the money that you get from putting this back on and the stuff that you have into really working on like research and, like outreach programs for these types of compulsion.
Totally doubt he's going to do that.
Well, we can totally doubt it or whatever, but it's a good thing to do.
I agree that, you put that money towards something good, but, the way how this guy says he wants to live a simple life, and he doesn't want to be a businessman, and he doesn't want, to worry about money, like counting money and all this stuff, like PR stuff. The way how he talks about all that stuff, it sounds like he's just going to just focus on developing games. He says he's working on 3 games right now. One of them sounds like Flappy Bird, except you gotta like move your phone left and right as you press the screen. So it just sounds like this guy really just wants to focus on developing games, and that's it.
I'm not saying like he has to start an organization or anything like that. Find one of these places that do it and just like fill a suitcase full of like dollar bills and just kind of leave it on there, knock on the door, kunk, and then run away,
With Kim Jong-il bills. All right, so let's move on.
Woo!
To the biggest segment of the show, which is listener feedback.
That's you.
Yeah.
Listener feedback. And you can, if you want to write into the show, you can write into podcast@avcontinues.com, just like Joel M., who wrote in last week, and you wrote in again this week. So thank you very much. You're the man.
Way to go, Joel.
You're the man. You wrote in saying, first of all, you're welcome and thank you, because I told him he's a boss last week. So, second, a while back, Valve admitted twice, that Greenlight wasn't actually the greatest thing since sliced bread. Greenlight was, I think, Valve's attempt to answer criticism that it was difficult and unpredictable for an indie developer to get their game on Steam. I've seen people blame developers for it instead of Valve. Not on Steam, not buying. Get your game on Steam if you actually want my money. I mean, seriously, what's wrong with you? That's what people say, when a game's not on Steam. But if developers got to set their own prices on Steam, then Valve would have one less responsibility. There's not as much need to really review a submitted game if Valve doesn't have to figure out what to charge for it, I think and hope. That allowing developers to set their own prices, even though Valve will probably end up making less money per game this way, since they've gotten very experienced at it, is a step towards eventually allowing devs to put their games on Steam without a lengthy, unpredictable, and frustrating approval process. Podcast good, Joel. Thank you very much, Joel. Last week, his email was show good.
Show good.
So good.
So, I see what you're saying, Joel. As far as what if Valve allowed developers to set their own prices, which they're almost doing right now, anyways. Like they recently just allowed developers to set their own sales, so a developer can put their game on sale anytime they want, at whatever price that they want. But I don't think that would be the answer to their approval process, because the fact that they still need to make sure that the game is something that works. It's not something that will crash on 90% of people's rigs. Another thing is Valve needs to make sure that the games, like the description on the store page, needs to actually match the game itself, because they had an issue with what was it, the War Z, which ended up changing to Infestation Survival Stories. Don't buy it. The description did not match the actual game, because the description said it had way more maps and way more modes than the game actually did.
Yeah.
And the developer's defense was, we were planning on putting those in, so it is correct.
Yeah.
No. I'm not gonna sit here and say this is what Valve needs to do to make their their approval process better, but I do know that like GOG.com, GOG.com, they're at the point now where they're allowing anyone to submit their game and it will go up.
Yeah.
And I'm assuming that what they're doing is basically just, if it's a good game, it will do well. If it's a bad game, it just won't sell.
Yeah. I mean, I do understand kind of where Valve's coming from, because one needs only to take a look at the Xbox Indie Arcade and see the 95% of complete and utter garbage that litters there, because they just allowed anyone. They're like, yeah, if you can program it to run on an Xbox, we'll throw it up there, and
game will make your controller vibrate.
Yeah, I mean, you spend 5 minutes on there, 5 minutes, and if you can find 2 games worth playing, I will be impressed as all hell. I mean, there are some good gems on there. It's just that you have to dig through so much crap, and I think that's part of what Valve's worried about, is if they open it up to anyone, then they're opening it up to anyone.
Yeah. And I mean, right now, Steam would, they have to look at themselves as one of the bigger, as far as streaming and video game, digital video game distribution, sites or something like that, and it, they have a ton of games up. I mean, tons. So if you open the floodgates like that, yeah, man. I mean, I can spend an hour and a half, just cycling through one. I could put as many filters on it as I want, and I'm still looking at 200 plus games, So having all those extra, just this will make your phone vibrate. $20, you know, and then there's like a lot of scams and stuff out there, and I could only imagine like the server space and stuff that's got to take. So, you know, maybe Greenlight wasn't the best thing, but I mean, it's got to be something, you know. There has to be some sort of approval process, you know, either by, you know, I have no solution for this whatsoever, and you know, maybe Steam doesn't right now either. You know, they're just trying to do whatever. But you know, granted, you can't release the floodgates on this stuff.
Yeah.
You know, it's like I sound like I'm a bad guy, like I'm hindering, you know, indie developers and stuff, and I'm like, I'm not. You know, what you need to do is start releasing your own forums and start, you know, you know, sharing tidbits and stuff of your game with other people and stuff. Just because you have a basic sense of programming, and that, you know, it's like, I can click on this button, you win. You know, technically that's kind of a game, you know.
No, it is not. It's not a game.
No, here,
You're fired.
no, Steve's game, Turn Off the Light. Have you played that?
No.
Oh, you haven't? Okay, so I have to plug my buddy Steve here. It's a minimalist game, and it's just a window on the screen, and it's white, and then it turns black. Well, I mean, it turns white, and the game is called Turn Off the Light. You click it, and it goes black. After some amount of time, some randomized amount of time, it turns back on. Turn it black. It actually is a game. It's a game because it follows all of the rules to being a game, but it's an extremely minimalistic game set. But how would you feel if a game like that came on there, and you know, and somebody could always kind of like throw in some images or something like that, get a little bit of hype or something like that on some blogs and stuff, you know, go on a forum and stuff and just kind of hint at this really cool game or something like that, you know, the rumor mill, especially in our, you know, social media that we are in. I mean, that thing could flood out, and then all of a sudden, you know, okay, well, I'm going to release it on Steam for $20. There will be people, a lot of people, that will dish out $20 for Turn Off the Light.
Yeah.
You know,
Well,
and
like,
I mean,
I think Steam,
no offense, Steve.
Well, since Steam is the biggest digital distributor for PC, I mean, it is like they should definitely like put in a layer of, you know, like approval process just to like get a certain level of quality in there, so that not everybody can release a game on there. Because like, I mean, you got people like me, you know, I'm working on games right now, but my games are definitely not Steam ready. You know, like I'm working on Beware the Bully, which I would like to put up like on Congregate, maybe GOG, you know, once that's finished, if it's good enough, you know, possibly Congregate. Someone in here? Not
No.
yet? Okay. Yeah, we still got some time. But, you know, it's definitely not going to be something that's going to be good enough for Steam, though. And, you know, the Steam should be, like, for the big boys. You know, not for, you know, people like me who just, you know, student working on a project. Hey, this is going to be a playable game. I want to, you know, flood the, you know, Steam with all these other student projects. No,
Yeah.
it should not be, you know, a place for students to, you know, just throw all their projects on there. You know, that's what there are already websites for that. You know, like I mentioned, Congregate. There's Newgrounds. You know, there's Desura. You know, there's plenty of places for people to get their stuff out there, just so that, you know, so that they can get their name out there. You know, so Steam should not be the place for people to, like, you know, get noticed.
And even with Greenlight, there's a lot of crap that either gets greenlit or shows up on Greenlight. Like, I mean, I make it a point about once a week to go on there, just like flip through like the new submissions and just see if there's anything like, you know, that looks good, and vote it up or vote it down if it looks terrible. And there are a lot of terrible things that people are trying to get on Steam. I mean, you know, these things are like, you know, pre-alpha builds that they're trying to greenlight, and it's like, okay, make it at least a beta before you do this. I mean, I know DayZ's done it, and you know, and they're successful, but those guys have had a lot of practice. You know, so I mean, I don't know if there's a perfect right answer for anyone here, but at the same time, I'm not sure if opening like it up more is the right answer at all.
I mean, like, I think this should be more figured out for. I mean, it should be figured out by people who are more like business majors. I mean, like I took a few business classes, so that definitely doesn't qualify me. I took like an ethics class and an intro to business. So
Well, you're more qualified than I am.
Yeah. I took an economics class back in high school.
Yeah, I did
And
that
slept through most of it, so that's about as much as I've got.
yeah, so let's get things wrapped up because someone was trying to get in or something or whatever.
Someone beating on the door.
Someone beating on.
They
the
know we're
door.
in here, man. It's our paparazzi.
Well, someone should be here at 3, which is a half hour from now. So, but anyways, shout outs and plugs. I want to give a shout out to Nathan Becker, aka Ectogemia, ECTOGEMIA. Facebook.com/Ectogemia.
Way to go, Nathan.
Or
hero.
look up his SoundCloud account, Ectogemia. He made the intro song for Alf Continues, which you heard at the beginning of this podcast. He is also working on the music for my capstone game, Beware the Bully. So, shout outs to him. Shout out to Return of Etheria. Look that up. Return of Etheria, War of Realms. Etheria is spelled Aetheria. Return of Etheria, War of Realms. It is a augmented reality game that's going to be played at a convention this year in Indianapolis. Worked on by 40-ish students. Yeah, 40-some students here at the School of Informatics and Computing at IPY. I am the lead game designer working on this game.
Woot.
We got Cody over here, who is sound extraordinaire person.
You're too kind. Yeah, I'm part of the media team. So, we've got a running series called Inside Etheria, which is kind of like just a weekly interview session with members of the team, all the way from people who've been with the program since its conception till newbies that have just joined, kind of like me.
How come your video is not up yet? Because you said your video was up.
My video is up. It's up there. It should be, unless they lied to me, which they could have lied to me.
I did not see it up.
I
It
will-
is not up.
I will strangle and/or hug whoever finds that out. There's other people up there. Staffa's video is still up there. And
My video would have been a lot better if it was uncut. If it was
we
uncut,
didn't. There was no way we'd have that much time to. We are putting together some uncut ones, some director cut ones, and a blooper reel. Okay, so technically, what we should say is that we're releasing all of your other video stuff that we cut out because man, it was hilarious. But so check us out on the Facebook and the Twitter, and I believe we got a forum going and stuff. We need all the help we can
when
get.
I was in high school, like in my senior year, that was when American Idol was first getting really popular. And so we had I was in Ben Davis High School, so we had Ben Davis Idol, which was
When
Did you
year
win?
was that?
Tell me you
it
won.
was 04.
Okay, I was
04.
not there yet.
Yeah.
Did you win?
No.
Damn.
I was people's choice though.
Oh.
People wrote my name down on the ballot, even
Nice.
though my name wasn't on the ballot. But anyways, so they had the blooper reel that they showed on. Every Friday we had this thing called BDTV, where the video students would make a video, whatever.
Yeah, that was a train
so
wreck.
they showed the blooper reel of the all the losers. And it basically the blooper reel was basically a bunch of people just standing there, just a quick second of them going just different people just go and then it showed my entire skit from start to finish, the entire thing. I sang MC Hammer and danced.
That's excellent.
Yes.
just from start to
you
finish
need to
my
be on-
entire thing, and then they continued showing everyone else go like I won the show. I
You
won the
did.
show.
You
like
did.
I
You need to be on camera
unofficially
more
won.
often.
Yeah.
I'm glad you got that in there.
Yes.
Wait for it. 2 more episodes from here, he's going to be dancing.
Yeah.
It's going to be awesome.
I expect it now.
Yeah.
I can't dance
Your,
today.
your fans expect it now.
I'm not gonna dance today.
That's fine. It doesn't have to be today.
They are.
But
Listener feedback. Just
yeah, just tell them to
hundreds of
dance.
emails.
Tell them to dance.
Gotta dance.
You gotta dance, Staffa.
Do the safety dance. So, anyways, so yeah, Nathan Becker, Ectogemia, Return of Etheria, War of Realms. Do you guys have anything else you want to plug?
Let's see.
You got anything?
Just
Play more video games?
Video games.
If anyone's in Indianapolis coming up, when is it? April 20-something for the IUPUI capstone. You can see Staffa's capstone. You can see my capstone, plus
Yes.
tons of other people's capstones. It's going to be awesome.
Awesome.
Yes.
How much is it to do that?
It's absolutely free.
Oh, what?
Yeah, it's an entire evening of entertainment for nothing, for absolutely nothing.
You got to pay for
And there's
parking, though.
cookies.
Yeah.
I promise there's always cookies.
Yeah, there's cookies and punch. You can see us in the flesh.
Yeah, I'll be wearing a suit and tie. And
Can I wear my birthday suit?
No.
Oh.
I put down a reservation for either 152 or 252 so I can do a presentation on my game.
Neat.
See, I'm not I'm not even sure where I am. Like the only thing I put, because they ask you, they're like, oh well, where do you want to be? And since I'm doing a partner, I was just like, I want to be next to my partner. That's the only thing I require.
Yeah. Well, I put down that I need to either be in room 255 or some place with a computer so I can present the game, but I want to get the auditorium too so I can do like a 30-minute presentation on my trials and tribulations and talk about my wall boosting and why I even have wall boosting and talk about
And how intentional it was. How absolutely intentional it was.
just my design choices and just whatever. I want to make a I just most people who have the auditorium, they basically are showing off a short film.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you know what? Why not? Why not? I mean, I can't take the auditorium and play the game in front of everybody. But why not? Take the auditorium and do a presentation on, hey, this is how I made the game. Just talk about the design aspect and
Indeed.
yeah,
man.
the technical issues and wall boosting and how the platforms will move beneath my feet.
Awesome, man. Well, I'm looking forward to it. Both of you guys.
Awesome.
Yeah. Also, Nathan should be there with me, because he's working on the.
Oh yeah,
He's
sweet.
working on my music. He said that he might not be there right at when it starts because he has a class or something.
Yeah.
But he'll eventually be there.
Oh, that's cool.
So.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah, so let's wrap things up. If you enjoy what you've been hearing, support us by liking us on Facebook, following us on Twitter, leave an iTunes review, please.
Please do it, or a kitten will die.
Don't listen to him.
Well, I mean, they can't prove that it won't happen. So,
They can't. So allegedly, a cat will die.
Yeah, a cat will probably die somewhere if you don't leave a review on iTunes.
Or you can contact me by email, which is podcast@outofcontinues.com. All these can be found on the website, which is www.outofcontinues.com. You can also give me a tweet. You can tweet me directly. I am at Sayed Staffa. That's SAYEDSTAFA. In closing, I would like to thank my guest hosts for joining me today. Matt,
Oh, thank you. It means a lot.
Cody,
Hey, that's me.
yes.
Thanks for having me on again.
This video format really works with you specifically because you are very
Very
animated.
animated.
yeah, you have a
human
lot
being.
of body language,
Oh, yeah.
so it works out a lot with you.
I used to get in so much trouble because when I'd get really amped up and stuff like that, I would shake my hands and stuff like that. this poor girl that I've never seen ever. She comes walking by when I'm trying to tell somebody about a video game. I was probably saying like, this game sucks, and just whacked her right in the face. Man, I felt horrible for like a whole couple minutes. It was awful.
You only felt horrible for those couple minutes, and that's
Yeah,
it.
I mean,
Yeah. See, like, I've had to train myself not to use my hands because of how many times I've been in a restaurant talking and knocked over a drink or something else. And so it's just like, we sit here like this now when we talk.
So anyways, with that said, I'm your host, Staffa.
hi, Staffa.
And, since I'm going to be at GDC next week, I will probably record the next podcast on the same Monday that it will be posted up. So don't expect that podcast to be up right, at midnight like it usually is, because I'll get back on Saturday, and I don't think I'll be able to record then. And Sunday probably won't work because I have Sunday school, because I'm a Sunday school teacher, and so it will probably be Monday. I will record on Monday. And so, yeah. I should have said that in the announcement section. Oh, well.
Well, if they listen all the way through, they got it.
All right. Anyways, with that said, I'm your host, Staffa. Peace out, everybody.
Beast